did you do with Susan Sarandon?
Movie called Last of the Cowboys.
Did you hear that?
Before Rocky Horror Show. Before she washed herself with lemons in Burt Lancaster.
You lost me after that one.
Atlantic City, one of the greatest movies ever made with Burt Lancaster and Susan Sarandon. And he looks through the window, he's the old gangster, and he watches her wash herself with lemons because she's an oyster shucker. And she doesn't want to smell like fish. She doesn't want to be the fish girl. There's going to be a quiz later. Come on. I'm a different generation. This is Susan Sarandon before she was the gravitas Oscar-winning star. She was the hottest, most beautiful girl, in movies. Joe, Rocky Horror Show, and I got to work with her back then, which is a great little, the stars you get in school by name. And I had to actually get a nude scene with her, which was, for a young 24-year-old actor, was pretty intimidating.
I personally love that you did a nude scene.
Can you share my best answers?
One of the first big roles I got as an actor was a part in a movie called Legend of Bagger Vance. And I came here, actually. We shot in Savannah, and hurricane hit, and we all came up to Atlanta, and I played a guy who accomplished so much at an early age and was such an American icon and a hero. And I was like, oh God, how do I play this? I don't know how to play someone with such, integrity and gift like that. And I was over, to play, and then to be here and to be in the South and do all the research that I was able to do. I ended up loving it, but I was terrified of it because I thought that he was so much better man than I thought I am. And what he accomplished. I was more into what he achieved and how he might portray someone like that. But I love the movie, and I love what I was able to do in it. And then I did a part in the movie, miniseries Taken, that played the bad guy, and I loved that part because I felt so much more free. I think there's a certain level of freedom playing a bad guy. You can take an extra sigh. You can take your little time. It's more play. For me, that's what it feels like. And when you can do dastardly things that are justified by the character, that it's fun. It's a little not as predictable as someone who's a good man or a good guy. Like when I was in 4400, Tom was trying to do the right thing at all times. And when I first got that, I was like, how do I think like that? But it's, you find the balance of it, but I thoroughly enjoy playing the bad guy. It's actually a lot of fun.
There's a sequence in Taken. I just remembered this as a hypothetical. That sequence at the used car lot where they're torturing the alien I think it stands as one of the best scenes in science fiction. Back with the classics and all the way up to today. It's just an amazing sequence with the starts with those fluttering flags in the parking lot of the used car lot. What could go wrong? Well, stick around,
Steven Spielberg's first AD directed that. And he had he worked with Steven for 13, 14 years. And watching him make movies, and he learned from him. And I so loved what he brought to the show, because he really visually got, I thought, a lot of influence from Steven.
When you were doing Bagger Vance, did you get to play Augusta at all?
I did not. I have a story about that. Will Smith got invited to play there, and I just met Will, and he mentioned to somebody else about playing Augusta National. I'm like, hey, Will, I'm playing Bobby Jones, and is there a chance that if you don't have a foursome, I could go? He's like, yeah, sure. What room are you in? And I said, I'm staying at the Hilton, and then I'm room so. He goes, sure, I'll let you know. And several days go by, and we're on set, and I walk up to Will, and I go, Will, did you play? He goes, oh, it was amazing. The chorus It was just extraordinary, yeah. It was amazing. Did you have foursome? He goes, no, it was just me and this other guy. I'm like, Will, do you remember I asked him to play? It was like my one chance ever to ever play that course. It was definitely a dream of mine to play. And, you know, someday hopefully.
So what's Mr. Shatner's handicap?
That he doesn't play.
This is for Robert. I know you played a lot of different roles, from a strip club owner to Freddie and to Willie. But what role would you want to, like, you would never get tired of playing? Like, you would do it over and over?
Well, you know, I understudied Iago in Shakespeare's Othello, and I only went on once, and I'm getting a little long in the tooth, but I could probably dye my hair brown and still do a short run of that. I would love to do that, and I was on a panel yesterday with my buddy Tony Todd, who's also a stage actor. In fact, he was one of the leading actors in the sort of August Wilson repertory, who's a tremendous African-American Arthur Miller. You should all see all his plays. And I was thinking, I was sitting next to Tony, and it's such an obvious thing to, to think about, because he's so tall, that I was thinking, God, it would be great to do Iago to Tony Todd's Othello, somewhere. And by the very nature of the fact that we both have genre fans, we could get an audience in to see a really great Shakespeare drama, which that might be fun.
Robert, can you talk about your guest appearance on Chuck?
My what?
Guest appearance on Chuck?
Oh, Chuck. Well, I got to wrestle with Linda Hamilton. What else is, that was kind of fun. And Linda turned me on to a great little town in Florida called Siesta Key. My wife and I snuck down there for a great little, kind of second honeymoon with fireflies and shrimp cocktails. It was really fun. I'll tell you a great story about Chuck. I usually, they shoot the stars out on a daily basis on a TV show because they work so many hours, they need them the next morning as soon as they can get them, and they have to have the union turnaround. And he was so kind to me. I had to catch a plane that night, and he let me do my big, crazy, hallucinogenic comedy monologue before his. He stayed later and kind of pushed into his own turnaround. But then I was there signing autographs for the crew. I had some fans on the crew. It was my old home lot at Warner Brothers. And I watched Chuck kind of do his little hallucinogenic freak out at the end of the episode. And he did a full-on comedy improv. The cameraman had to call for extra takes. He was laughing so hard, the operator. And then I saw the show, and they didn't use any of it. Any of his comedy stuff. He went off the chart like Robin Williams, and I thought it was great because he echoed what I did. He'd been watching me, and it was just interesting because we were all peeing our pants watching, and they didn't really use much of what he created that late Friday night. But yeah, it's a fun show. I hope I get asked back. I think this is that thing again about ratings and V, and that show is what's it called when they have the highest TiVo rating in the world. They're recorded. It's of any show. And yet they don't, even though they can measure that, the sponsors don't take that into consideration. It's just nuts.
Because they fast forward to commercials.
Yeah, but even then you can see you see the little pop-ups if you're watching it. So where are those people getting in on the act? A hit's a hit,